So part 7, the last part of our series for Suicide Prevention Awareness Week. Where I left off, we were planning my brother's funeral, having my brother's funeral, and I had a few weeks off from work. And coming back to work was really, really hard. I was still not in the best place. I was very fortunate. I had a great group of girls that were on my team and were very supportive of me and kind of understood what was going on. And so I wouldn't have ever made it through without them. So I love them. I thank them for that. Then life moved on, and the last year has been really tough. There have been good days and bad days, but some really amazing things have come and happened since then. This past summer, I was talking to Raven over at the Facts down in my hometown, and they wanted to do a story, which I was like, yes, because let me tell you, the papers that came out right after my parents were killed, they never mentioned the guy was drunk or on drugs or any of that, because again, small town Texas, guy got off, scot-free, in my opinion. So I was ready to get the record set straight. And they ended up, which I had no idea till it came out, they ended up running a front page article in the weekend edition, which is the 2-day edition. And to say that I was like stoked was an understatement of the year. Like, it is a big darn deal to be on the front page of your hometown paper. And we finally got the story right. You know what I mean? I finally got to get a little bit of justice for my parents and tell the story that really happened, But what was funny, though, is this story was supposed to happen a month before it did. But because of all the Roe v. Wade stuff that happened over the summer, my story got postponed, which was fine. I didn't care. I was just happy they were doing it. And then I started getting messages from all kinds of people reaching out, my old pediatrician, my old, everybody, and it was so good to hear from everybody. But then I get this one ominous message, and I was reluctant to even share this, but I shared it with my hairdresser yesterday, and she was like, oh, you got to talk about this. This is crazy, So I get this message from this guy that I have no connections with. I've never heard his name. I don't recognize his face. I don't know who the heck he is. And he's like, hey, was the wreck at this location? And I said, well, I don't really know the names. I just knew the roads barely. I didn't even know the road names until I had to go Google it to figure out which road it was on that happened. And he's like, well, I really need to talk to you. And I'm like, what? Who are you? And he's like, well, can we have a conversation? My mom's in the hospital right now. Can we have a conversation? And I'm like, okay, weirdo, sure, why not? Like, you have my interest piqued. Let's do this, And then later on, he said, well, I don't feel like I should be able to get away with this without doing it face to face. And I'm like, oh, no. You don't get to say all this and then, like, chicken out of a conversation. Like, we're having a conversation. So long story short, we ended up agreeing to do a video chat that night once both of our kids were in bed. And he said, well, Erin, I was down in Lake Jackson at the hospital because my mom's in the hospital right now. And I happened to pick up the paper. I was a little bit bored. I saw your story. And he's like, and I need to apologize. And I'm like, what? I'm so confused because there's been this certain narrative my whole life, and I know the guy who killed them. Like, I've never met the first responders or anything like that. So I'm like, what do you have to apologize to me for? Like, you didn't even know I existed till 5 minutes ago, And he had said, well, I was first on the scene that night. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And he wasn't a first responder, which I thought he was at first. He wasn't a first responder. He just happened to be the first one up on the accident. Not an accident. It was a crash. Yes, by the way, you never call it an accident. If you get behind the wheel when you're high or when you're drunk, even a little bit buzzed, that is not an accident. If you kill someone, that is a crash. That is an intention. But here nor there. Enough with that. Don't want to get sidetracked here. So I won't go into too much detail because we haven't met in person just yet, but I can't wait to meet him. When he first came up to my parents' car, he said, Erin, there wasn't a sound. You could hear a pin drop, and based on like the dent in the windshield and all the gore, he thought everybody in the car was dead. He didn't realize that there were 2 people actually still alive in the car. And then he heard this guy yelling out, help, 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 and him and his buddy run over there like, what the heck, what is he calling help for, And this guy's like, here, help me. And he's like, are you injured? The guy's like, no, because of course they never get injured, you know. And he's like, I have this beer and I need help hiding it. What? Oh my God. And so, long story short, that never came out back then. And so I had no idea. And I'm so grateful for this man for reaching out, because he didn't have to. He didn't have to come clean with all this stuff. He owed me nothing, you know, like, who am I? Nobody. I would have died never knowing, and that would have been fine with me, you know. But I have so much love for this person, and we're supposed to be meeting up soon next time I'm in Houston. So I can't wait to give him a big hug, because there's just a lot going on with that. And so that's just one of the amazing things that have happened, you know, that my brothers missed out on. You know, my brothers missed out on so much. You know, his niece, my niece, his daughter, he loves his kids. He loves his kids so much. She ended up coming and staying with me for the summer. And he always wanted that. He always wanted his kids here to spend real time with them when he was in the right headspace, you know. And he made a decision to do that before he ever could. Which, another thing I will say that I forgot to mention earlier, which was really weird, is the day before he died, he bought brand new fishing lures, fishing hooks. And he had just went grocery shopping and bought like a whole week's worth of groceries. And that's how I know it was very sporadic. This was not planned. This was not something that I think he sat and thought on, because why would you spend your money on fishing hooks and groceries? That makes no sense. And the note that he left me, that I eventually got, was written on like a, you know, those envelopes, like your tax stuff comes in, like with all the cutout things, whatever. He had scribbled something on that real fast. He wrote it real fast. And so, you know, you could tell it just wasn't planned, but he missed so many good things. And like the stuff that I'm still struggling with today, why didn't he call? He always called. When he needed help, he always called me, because I was his person. And he didn't call that night, because if he would have, I would have picked up the phone with a smile on my face, like I always did, and said, where do you need to go? I'll take you, because you're important to me. And so, now being the last standing member of my immediate family, my mission is to make sure that nobody has to go without the resources that we did. If we would have had therapy and a victim advocate and legal guidance and all of these things, our life could have been so different. But, you know, the reality is, you know, like I said, my parents died on June 22nd, 1985, but so did my brother. The person my brother was supposed to be, the big brother I was supposed to have, was also injured, technically, on June 22nd, 1985. It just took him 35 years, 11 months, and 18 days to finally die. And so, if you think that somebody doesn't love you, I guarantee you they do. Even when you're at your worst, you know. I told my husband, and I'll say it to you all too, just so it's out there. If I ever die by suicide, just know it wasn't me. Like, I was murdered, straight up. Dateline series commence, you know. Like, I would never, ever, especially after losing my parents to a drunk driver, I would never put my kids through this. Ever. Never happened. And so now, I don't have anybody call me late at night to say they need help. I'm getting a lot better sleep, but, you know, that's besides the point. So if it's ever 3 o'clock in the morning and you need to go, you call me. Smile on my face. I won't have any makeup on, but, you know, what else? Roll out of bed, probably some of my pajamas, and I'll come get you. And I'll help you. Because it's hard. The mental health system, I've had several friends I've helped after dealing with it with my brother. And It is not an easy, we do not make it easy in this country. There's a stigmatism. We don't make it easy. We make it as difficult as we possibly can for someone to actually get help. And it's a shame. It's a shame. So thank you guys for following our journey this week. I really appreciate it. You know, it means a lot to me and to my family. You know, please feel free to like, share, comment, all that good stuff. And then, of course, I'll throw the link in there too if you want to join or donate to our walk team this year. I really appreciate it. All right. Bye, guys.